What's going on, guys? It's your boy Tim Aslan here with Counter Trend Capital. This is an important video, probably one of my most important videos I've ever made, because it is the case for the bulls. Alts have been demolished recently. We had news of potential war over the weekend, and now New York's going to be opening on Monday. So a lot of people are really scared right now, and I'm going to show you the bull case scenario, what I want to see to be bullish, and basically what will happen if we are bearish and where the confirmation is if we are bearish. So I'm going to go through a few things, starting with trading view, and then also liquidity maps. And yeah, so let's dive right in. So the first thing that I want to point out on Bitcoin here, Bitcoin did not crash as hard as alts, right? And that's simply because people were more over leveraged in altcoins, looking for those big gains versus just normal people longing Bitcoin with less size, right? So what we got here looks totally healthy. There's no break of structure at all. As you can see, we swung these lows and took all the liquidity from these lows and then closed even above these candles right here on the daily time frame. Now, weekly close is today, and same thing. We swept the liquidity from down here, and we're going to close the weekly candle probably in the next 4 hours above this wick, which is a really good sign for a swing failure pattern. Now, I do have potential to come down one more time. We have this weekly naked point of control at this level. We have a daily fair value gap at this level. We have the 1.23 trend-based fib at this level, right? So how I have this right now is as a WXY to the downside, like this, right? Already hit 100%. Really nice reaction, 10% move to the upside. A lot of breakout shorters shorted this, especially with the war news. And market makers filled their long orders. And I'll show you why I know that in a second here. But again, there is always potential to come down one more time because this is also a monthly pivot area right here. Those tend to get hit before further upside. So keep an eye out for one more low, maybe during Monday's trading session, like one more just quick low and then up. That's totally possible. Also, we have a harmonic pattern in that area as well. We have a Gartley. The ratios are a little bit off on the XB point, but I think it's okay. And that also places us right at the 786 around this 1.23 area. So that's the pure technicality reasons why I think there is still a bullish case on Bitcoin. The bearish case is if we break this 1.618 at 52K. If we break that and candle close below these wicks down here, that indicates a market structure shift. And at that point, we would probably want to short the retrace if we do go up after closing below this area. But we're not there yet, so we can't assume bearish, right? We have to assume bullish until a market structure shift occurs. Now, let's stay on the topic of Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you CoinGlass data. And then after that, I'll show you alts. So this is CoinGlass data for Bitcoin. And as you can see, the CVD, which essentially measures the delta between longs and shorts, at this wick down below is way down here, right? Versus that same time when we were in that price level, we were even higher. So this indicates to me that large players are longing as price is coming down, and that's creating this divergence right here, right? Next is funding rates. You can see at the bottom of that wick, we had our first red funding, negative funding for a long time. So that is really good because you can see at this top up here, funding rates were really high. Everybody was just longing. So now at that bottom of the wick, we actually had more shorts than longs, right? And so funding is still very low relative to when we were just absolutely mooning. So this is a very, very healthy retest and reset of this funding rate. Now, a really, really big indicator is this open interest right here. So this measures the amount of money that is in the market, specifically, in this case was longing. So as you can see, we absolutely rinsed open interest. I think it was about a $2 to $3 billion wipe of open interest. And what that means is, look where we are right now on the open interest chart. The last time we were this low was right here when price absolutely nuked at 40K. So what happened after that was one more additional low and then an absolute moon mission. So this is really, really, really healthy. It's just basically getting rid of all the leverage, all the people that are just breakout longing, all the people that are late to this cycle who are entering after Bitcoin hits all-time high. We just crushed them all. And you can see that on Twitter too, because on Twitter, everybody is just saying how badly wrecked they got. And yeah, it's really no surprise. So also with that, you can see aggregated liquidations at the bottom. So this spike is the highest liquidation spike all the way since August of 2023, which was this macro low that we never broke in this bull market. So, almost the same amount of people, not amount of people, but the same amount of dollars were liquidated from the market as this insanely strong bottom than as right now, which is a huge, huge deal, in my opinion. It just shows that, this is not going to really go up anymore. I mean, you saw here, everybody got liquidated. Then we kind of chilled for a bit, sideways, and then absolutely mooned. So don't, worry if price doesn't moon right away. There usually tends to be some sideways action before this goes up. Let me zoom out and see if I can get data further back. Yes, I can. Perfect. So yeah, you can see back here was the bottom. And yeah, we have lower open interest than this bottom area, which is crazy. So this to me looks really healthy, especially the funding reset. I'm not really worried until we break this 50K area. So Bitcoin looks good here, and then let me show you this one other indicator right here. So this is from Kingfisher. So this is a liquidity map. A lot of people don't know how to read it, but it's super simple. Basically, the highest points on the liquidity map up here indicate the most amount of liquidations once we hit that price. So $150 million of liquidations once we reach, I think this is about 69, maybe 70K is the peak for those liquidations. Sorry about those texts, guys. And then basically there is a monumental amount of shorts up here versus, see how many longs there are. There's clusters of it, and it is healthy to take out these clusters, but compared to the amount of shorts, market makers are going to want to go up, because market makers, what they did on those big liquidity drops is they were forced to buy everybody's order when they were selling and get stopped out, right? So market makers are now holding the bag on millions of dollars of altcoins. Not only market makers, but whales as well, who absorbed all the altcoins and Bitcoin just getting pummeled. So they absorbed all those orders. Now they need to send the price up. And when they do send the price up, they need to be selling. So in order to sell, they need short liquidations, because short liquidations mean buying. And as those people get liquidated, they're going to be changing hands and selling those positions to the people who are forced to buy when they get liquidated. So this looks extremely good for upside. Now there is one other indicator that I saw from Credible Crypto on Twitter, which is right here. This is the spot premium. So essentially what you can see on this chart is that every time spot premium went, like when there was a spot premium, which is down here, that ended up being the local bottom. So it happened right there on the chart. It happened very heavily in this accumulation zone around 40K. And then it is happening right now. So this is a really good sign. And it indicates that there's a lot of spot buying for the next leg up, which is great. Now I'm going to switch focus to altcoins. And I'm going to do so using a few examples. So Solana, for example, hit this point of control to the upside, bounced off a little bit, overshoot on the 1.618, and now reclaimed the value area high. So Solana looks pretty good so far. I'd love to see a candle close above this value area high, but so far it is a triple wave to the downside. Now, there are a lot of coins that did 5 waves up. I think Storage is a good example. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw me post about that. So Storage bounced off the 618, also point of control down here. As you can see, 5 clean waves up. I bought a nice bag of Storage in this area, and I'm not worried about it unless we break this low. So I'm betting that this high will be taken out. And a lot of alts look similar to this. A lot of alts hit targets. Here we go. ARB hit this big 1.618, bounced up like 20-30% already. So a lot of alts look very good in the sense that a lot of orders got filled, a lot of leverage got taken out, and now they're bouncing up. But what I want to focus now on are the total charts. So this is total 2. This is all coins excluding Bitcoin. And as you can see, on the weekly time frame, we filled a fair value gap at the same time as we bounced off this 1.23. So a candle close right here looks really good. We swept a lot of liquidity, especially from these 2 wicks, and bounced really nicely, filled the fair value gap. So this still looks good because, as you can remember, this is a corrective structure, and ideally this should break the high before breaking the low. Now, it is important to note that there could be one more little dip to this 1.618. If we do break that 1.618, I would start to get worried. But if you see here, we retraced to the 0.382 fib, which is a really nice retracement level. We do have the 0.5 right underneath as well. Now, total 3 is all crypto excluding Bitcoin and ETH. This one also hit a target, the 1.618. And here's that corrective structure again, the 100% fib doing its job. And then as you can see, this kind of looks so far as a wave 1, 2, and then a big 3. Now we're doing another 1, 2, or building a wave 4 right here. So this looks good. As you can see, we also filled a fair value gap on the weekly time frame right here. Boom, super nice. Literally filled the entirety of it and then kind of front ran this 1.618. So to me, this looks very, very healthy. Maybe one more low. Like there's always a possibility of one more low, guys. But to me, I'm not worried unless this breaks the 1.618 and comes down further. So there's no real reason to panic sell right now. There's no real reason to be alarmed. Just find altcoins that did 5 waves up or that you just know are good coins, have strong convictions on them. Another one I like so far is Link. Link to me did 5 waves up, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hit this 1.23 and the value area low, and now we'll close its weekly candle back inside the range. I would love to see this reclaim the point of control right here. And then what I would do to get targets is I would just fib from the bottom to the top to this low, assuming this low holds. And then first area of interest is a simple break of this high. Second area of interest is the 100%, 1.23, 1.618, and potentially all-time high because this structure looks pretty corrective. So I did fill some spot down here on link. Let's see, what else? What else did I fill? I think INJ looked pretty good. Kind of a retest of the previous all-time high, hopefully closing above it today. See this 1.23 from the move down, got filled nicely. Nice little fair value gap right here. I mean, you guys should have these marked out on your charts before the dump because it's just such a small, subtle one, but gets filled perfectly and acts as support. Now, this also is support from these areas right here and these areas right here. So that looks good as well. WIF was another one that I was looking at. I personally did not enter. Let me see if I have a different chart. Yeah, so WIF bounced off the 1.23. Again, corrective move down. Everybody gets wrecked, right? Market makers fill their longs, and then boom, we shoot up. And I think this is a big move up so far. So 56% move up since yesterday. Dang, I was contemplating this one. I should have taken it. But it looks like some kind of leading diagonal so far with a clean 5 waves up. Market structure shift right here. So if we do get lower on this, this might be a good position to enter. But it's really important at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The futures are going to open. Now, futures will probably open red on S&P, and CME will have a gap to the downside. So that's another important thing to know because CME closed at 67. Now we're at 64, right? So CME will open around this 64 area, which what's going to happen is it's going to close this old gap. Let me illustrate it better right here. See this old gap down here? Only about half of it got filled, and we never really filled the entirety of it. So when we come down for our open this week, we're literally going to probably open below this gap, and then that's going to create a new gap to the upside. So we'll fill the old gap and then fill the new gap to the upside and hopefully continue up, which is a great sign as well. Yeah, that's pretty much my entire thesis, guys. I think there's no real reason to panic yet. Scale into coins you like. If there's another dip, great. But we had the largest liquidity crash since the FTX crash happened yesterday. And we all know what happened after that, right? So in my mind, there's no real reason to be bearish until Bitcoin breaks 50K. Last one I'll leave you with is ETH. ETH missed my main 100% target that I was looking for, but it did fill at the 786 and at the macro 382 from the move up so far. So I think ETH could be done here or put in one more low to actually hit this 100%. We also have a TR pocket in that area. So I personally also bidded on ETH because I think ETH has even more upside potential than Bitcoin. And this is simply because the ETF is coming out potentially in May, if not probably by the end of the summer. And I think the narrative will finally flip from Bitcoin to ETH. I think Wall Street will start, allocating their ETH ETFs. And ETH hasn't even hit an all-time high yet, whereas Bitcoin did. So the upside potential is at least 60% to reach all-time high. So that's why I bidded on ETH. And again, a beautiful candle close. We have this big volume area right here that held up, and that's why this price is holding so far. But again, potential for one more quick little drop, potentially during Sunday's future session when stocks open red, or maybe on Monday. But to summarize, everything looks fine, guys. This first move in our W looks really choppy and corrective, which if this was actually bearish, I would have wanted to see a 5-wave down move here, then triple wave for wave 2, and then we would need a big wave 3 down. We didn't get that. We already stopped moving down and then moved up. So it just doesn't make sense for a 1-2, a big 3 to the downside at this point. It's always possible, but let's look at the probabilities, guys. I'm a buyer in this area, not a seller. I don't think there's any reason to sell unless Bitcoin breaks 50K and candle closes below it. Then I'm nervous. But until then, everything that needed to hold has held. And I think we are going to go up from here, guys. And I think that was the final shakeout before the halving, which is literally next week. Like, people forget the narrative so quickly. Halving is next week. Ethereum ETF is next month, potentially. There's so many good narratives that are going to be played. But people just forget it once they see the color red and see coins dropping down. So have some conviction, guys. Always have some cash on the side to buy these dips, especially on the altcoins. And if you just look at every single big liquidation dump, right? Every single one always marks the bottom right here. Boom, huge liquidation, big wick, then we continue up. Right here, huge liquidation, continue up. Right here, huge liquidation, continue up. This one is probably the most recent one back in March. Huge liquidation and then continue up. So I'm fine right now. I made my bets in my alts I like. I'm long Bitcoin. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's okay. I'd rather be wrong in this sense versus not bid alts right now and sell my bag, because that's, to me, a less probabilistic play in this sense. You want to buy when people are fearful and forced to sell by being liquidated versus, buying green. So, a lot of alts already retraced, literally 30% up. So find the ones that you like that, didn't go too far up. Here, Rune again, 1.23, nice move up. Just find some alts you have conviction in, guys. That's the end of my ramble. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to comment any questions. Follow me on Twitter for the latest updates. I'll leave my Twitter link below. And then if you're in the US and you need an exchange, check out our partners, Bit2Next. No VPN, no KYC. Really great exchange. Anyways, see you guys in the next video.